So joining me today on the podcast is Sheila Bell from Cygnet Systems. Sheila, how are you?
Yeah, fine, thank you. On this lovely morning we've got this morning. Thank you
Yeah,
for inviting me, Simon.
no, you're absolutely welcome. It's great to be able to talk to you to understand, what you get up to and how you're helping small businesses, especially during the current pandemic. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do and where you're based?
Yeah, so Cygnet Systems is for all the startup businesses or businesses in their first year. So we're based near Rugby in the middle of the country, but Cygnet's covers all of England and Wales because they have the same legislation. So I'm afraid if you're in Scotland or Ireland, we can't help you at this moment in time because your laws are slightly different.
Yeah, and we're talking bookkeeping. That's right.
Well, Swan Systems does bookkeeping, but Cygnets is a whole support package for startup companies. So it's all the stepping stones, all the things that you need to know about running a business. Every business in the whole world started with somebody's dream, somebody's idea. Um, so that's what we need to do. We need to make sure that those dreams and ideas are fulfilled.
So you've got Swan Systems, which covers the bigger picture, but Cygnets is really specifically for startup businesses.
Yeah, Cygnets is just purely for the startups, up to the first 18 months, really. We meet a lot of people that are in their first year, just finishing their first year, and they're amazed they're still in business, which is wonderful, but they don't really know how they've got there, what they have to send to any government bodies. They still might not have the right insurances and things in place. So that's what Cygnets are. It's to fill in the gaps and make sure that, because most businesses fail within like 2 to 3 years. So we want to make sure that that never happens.
Yeah, fantastic. And I'd imagine, obviously, given where we've all been with the pandemic, it's going to be something that is going to be much needed out there because obviously a lot of people started out and just don't know where to turn, do they?
Yeah, well, the thing is, you're always everybody's dream is they know what they're doing. Everybody's in their comfort zone, whatever, whether it's a service or a product that they want to provide. But when it comes to a lot of the back office stuff, they don't have any idea. Friends might tell them, relatives might, other people that are in business. They pick lots of people's brains. They go on the internet and look for inspiration. The internet's a wonderful thing, but you find that you'll get two or three things and they'll all say something different. So they get very confused. So Cygnets is there just as the stepping stones for all of those things that you need to do.
Yeah, fantastic. And Sheila, tell me, having run Swan Systems as a successful bookkeeping business over the years, what was the main reason and behind sort of creating Cygnets? Was it really to help the startup demographics?
I think so because we come across so many people that don't really know what they're doing. As I said, they're in their first year and they're not sure. Years ago, I went on a business sort of seminar thing, and one of the original Dragons of Dragons Dare was the keynote speaker, and he said in every successful business there are three people, and I was sat there going, "There's only me. How does this work?" And then I came to the realization that you can't do everything, which is what he was trying to say. So
Mm.
you can do what you do, but maybe, so you need somebody to actually sell your service. You need somebody to actually produce it, make sure it gets out there, do the customer service, do all of that bit, which is the lion's share that most people manage, and somebody to do the finance side of things. And it's maybe the selling or the finance, the marketing where people struggle with. And then you fill in the whole of the marketing, Simon.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there because a lot of people will know what they're doing, but don't necessarily get the time to actually get out there and actually, market the business. Or as you say, that's where you fit in, to look after the finances and everything because they're too busy focusing on, supply and delivering the product or service they actually know and care passionately about as well.
Yeah, I mean, Cygnets isn't just supporting people with the finance side. I mean, we will provide the finance software for them. We will teach them how to use it. Most importantly, then look at the numbers so they know what they're looking at. They know how to assess their business. But there's other things. Everybody's working from home. If you're running a business from home, how does that affect home insurance? How does it affect maybe your own motor car insurance? So all of these sort of things that you don't really know, and it's like, well, if I refurbish a bedroom as an office, can I claim for that? Can't I? and all of these sort of things. And then also you have the Data Protection Act now. There's a lot about that over recent years. I had a customer who'd been in business for over 20 years that hadn't heard of the Information Commissioner's Office and realised that they should have been registered over all these years every year. And it's one of these things, if nobody tells you, you don't know. So Cygnets does that. It breaks down all the jargon. It's in modular fashion, so you can just go through it. We've done it in a logical order. We're still looking for the first Cygnets to help us go through it to make sure it's in a logical order to them, because everybody looks at things slightly differently. And just making sure that everything is there. We go through things like the health and safety, making sure they have that in place if they need it, or business insurances, not just house insurances, but the different business insurances. It might be there's two of you, so you might need the key man insurance, because if one of you is suddenly ill, then the whole business is in jeopardy. And also the legal things for two people, because you might find that two of you start something, you're best friends, and sometimes that doesn't always, in years future, work out. So it's, what are the legal things? So it's all these stepping stones. So, you might not need them, but if you're aware of them, at least you know.
Yeah, and that's brilliant. And obviously thinking about Cygnet obviously grows into a swan, so I suppose it helps that you're there later on for them as well to be able to provide the bookkeeping services to go alongside the sort of the startup package that you've got there as well.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point of is that this is why we call them Cygnets, because hopefully we can fledge these new businesses and then we can turn them into wonderful swans. Then they can go swimming off into the great wide worlds and make a real success of their businesses. And we will always be underneath the water there supporting them so that they're not frantically paddling and getting lost. We have a lot of business owners a lot of the main big companies, their directors do have problems with dyslexia, dyscalculia, and it seems to be that's an entrepreneurial trait in some people. So they're very good at what they do, but understanding how to actually put things down, they really struggle with. So we do have a lot of customers that are dyslexic or have dyscalculia. So we fill in all of the gap for them because that is a big hole that they need to fill. And also it's scary for them because it's always so difficult for them to cope with.
Yeah, I know what it's like. I've started out my own journey, and back in 2009, and there isn't the help. There isn't a great deal of advice and everything out there. You hear little snippets, but it's great to actually meet somebody that's actually focusing on, startups and helping people grow and making sure people are aware of all the information. Because you're right, it can be really daunting when you first set up, and stuff can easily get missed, can't it?
Yeah, I mean I think a lot of people, especially over the last 12 months, they haven't actually planned to be self-employed. It's just something that has organically grown because they've been furloughed or they've been made redundant. So it's all of that they're just doing what they know that they want to do, and they're surprised that people are buying their product, their cakes, or whatever they've made, candles or whatever it is. And they're surprised and it sort of takes over. I mean, we had a customer years ago who just started off being a bit bored being a young mum, doing little bits for wedding parties, all of those little bits that you put on the table to make it all look sparkly. Her website was very, very pink is all I can say. And she got to the stage where she needed to be VAT registered because it had just grown out of all proportion of something that she'd just started to keep herself occupied. So there's a lot of people out there at the moment that are in that situation that things have just taken over, and then they suddenly realise I've got to do stuff, but they don't know what to do. There are lots of places to go and turn. We do show people that they can go to the growth hubs, to the local enterprise partnerships. Some of the banks are running sort of like supportive entrepreneur things, but they're not there. They may be free, but they're not there all the time. And we want to be there all the time for these people and be there for the long term to make sure that they survive, because
Yeah,
that's the most important thing.
yeah, fantastic. And anybody that's sort of started in business, can Cygnets help them as well, or is it literally for people that are really starting their journey in the early sort of couple of weeks and that running a business?
Anybody that's already in their first year, coming up to the end of their first year, Cygnets is for them, as I said, because they will have done the basics, but then suddenly it's a financial year end and they suddenly go, I have to tell somebody I've earned money. I don't know how to do that.
Or
What
maybe not
do?
being a start out business.
Yeah, yeah. It's just like, well, what do I do now? And HMRC is really helpful, and people will have heard of gateways. But if you're self-employed, you potentially might need three different HMRC gateways, and they'll register with one and go, well, I'm sorted. So it's one of those that it's you just if you don't know, you don't know, do you? And you can't ask a question of something that you don't even know that's meant you're meant to ask.
Yeah. And what about people transitioning maybe from a partnership to a legal, sorry, not a legal, a limited company? So they go from a partnership to a limited company that may have had a gateway set up, for example, for a partnership account, but not for limited. Can you help with that sort of thing as well?
Yeah, yeah, we can. So they'll need that's another gateway if you're a limited company. Also, you'll need to be registered with Companies House, and that's another login. So it's a question of keeping a track of all of these logins. And also, people think if they're registered with Companies House, then Companies House, it's the same gateway as HMRC. And they're totally different. They're totally different beasts. And it's just because they don't know. And that's
Yeah.
understandable. We also come across some people, on the other hand, that think that they have to be registered as a company. And so they go and register as a limited company, but really they can be self-employed, which means that they don't need to be registered. Because if you're a limited company, then that does come with extra hoops. Your accountancy bill will be slightly more. And there's no need when you're starting out for a lot of people to actually have that extra expense.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, there's a lot of free support out there. So, why would you say people should come to yourselves rather than sort of taking on board some of the free advice and support that is out there?
We will point people to the free advice and support, but our costs include your software. So most of the time, at the moment, the software is between £20 and £30 a month, and your signets is up to at the moment sort of £50. So 50% of that cost is your software anyway. Plus you're getting somebody to talk to at any point that we can get hold of. Whereas the free support, I think it's all based sessions, all lots of webinars. Whereas we're actually human beings you can talk to.
And that's so important, isn't it? Because I don't know about you, but you sit in the phone queues and you're trying to get advice, or you're on a website and this chatbot pops up and says, can I help you today? And some of the times the question can get lost in transition, and translation. So to be able to actually ask a question to a human being is what it's all about, in my opinion. So well done on spotting this and actually setting this up, because I think it's something that's really needed out there.
Yeah. So well, this is the whole point. And I have an entrepreneurial son who started his own business at 14. And with the best will in the world, the education department didn't support him as maybe as they should, because he didn't fit in any academic box. So we're looking for all ages of business owners, from the young ones that are just starting and because they can't see where they can get a job, so they're just going to go out on their own, to people that are being made redundant or just going, I've always dreamt of this all my working life and now I want to do it, in their 40s or 50s, and go, all right, I've had enough of my boss. This is it now. I'm off, and then go, oh, now what do I do? And suddenly they're not in an office with lots of. Sometimes people just want to chat because they're used to being in an office and an environment with lots of people, and suddenly they're sat at home in a bedroom all on their own, and it's quite a big scary place when you haven't got anybody to just suddenly just, well, what do you think of this? And there's nobody there. So that's the whole point.
Yeah, brilliant. And to hear that you've actually got something for young people as well is brilliant as well, because I know, when I first wanted to look to go into business, I think I was about 18 or 19, but, back then, sort of, I'm giving my age away now, about 30 years ago, you sort of look round and you couldn't really see anything. There was just nothing available. So it's really key and interesting to hear that you're actually able to help young people as well, starting out at an early age, because I think it's just fantastic what you're doing on that side, because there isn't much support out there, I don't think, for them.
No, well, it is, but it's not necessarily in their language. We are looking at the moment to get some freelancers in to come and give us that because we are of an age and social media and stuff for us is maybe our Achilles heel. So we do sort of outsource that for people to come and help. So, but you never know, we might find that we get some signets that end up working for Swan and Signets in their own right to promote it because they find it, the whole thing is a self-perpetuating thing that everybody then supports everybody else because you're not on your own when you're running your own business. In the world of small business, everybody is reliant on everybody else, but you get so much free help and support. Well, I mean, for Simon, for you, what was the thing that maybe you'd wished you'd known when you'd started?
I'll be honest, and it's a great question. Probably to find someone to actually mentor me or take me under their wing in the early sort of starting out time, because I had an idea and a vision of what I wanted to do, but I didn't really know how to do it. So, looking around, there was just nothing. And I remember going to the careers teacher at the time and sort of saying I want to go into a business, and they said, well, and you don't want to do that, go and get a job. And you're like, I don't want to get a job. I want to start a business. So, I ended up going to college and sort of sitting around doing nothing at college, not really achieving anything. So I actually did go and get a job, and even then I got the appetite early on that I wanted to do something. But again, not knowing who to turn to, where to turn to, or anything, and I just didn't see the help, and that was in London. So, now we're sort of 30 years down the line, and we're looking at this in the Midlands. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the main thing that I wish that somebody had said to me at the beginning was to be brave and go out and do the business networking to begin with. And that was to have somebody to say, look, it's a bit scary, but the amount of stuff that I've learned free from other business owners of going networking, and it's so much easier now because everything is online, so you don't have to actually leave the house or the comfort, so you're going to meet loads of strangers that you scared. You can meet them online, which is safe, feels safer. But the amount of things that I've learned from people doing their 10 minutes as being a speaker of the day has just been incredible. So I think one of the main things we'd encourage all the signets to do or any business owner to do, is to go out and do the networking.
Yeah, fantastic. Sheila, how can people find out more information or find out how to contact you?
Yeah, so if you go and have a look at the website, which is www.cygnet-systems.co.uk, and email signets@swan, so that's SWANN systems.co.uk, then you can get to us there, and the Swan website is there. Phone number is 01788 890 199, and we look forward to speaking to anybody because it's always so exciting to be on somebody else's journey.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for joining me on the podcast. It's been absolutely brilliant to talk to you and understand what you're doing, and keep doing what you're doing as well. Because as I said, I think this is something that could really help people out there that are starting out, and hopefully, it's a benefit to them, and they can see the benefits of what you're offering as well.
That's brilliant, Simon. Thank you so much for inviting me.